Hello, my name is Darshan Shah. I'm a director in the product marketing organization at Gigamon. And joining me today is my colleague and our subject matter expert, Matthew Hollingsworth. He's a senior solutions engineer in the public sector organization of Gigamon. And we're going to be talking about how you can accelerate your M2131 compliance using Gigamon. Now, let me give you just a little bit of background into what we're going to be covering. So in May 2021, and a lot of you are right now scrambling with the executive order that came out, which mandates every federal agency must meet cybersecurity and risk management requirements. And it's very broad. There's many topics to address, and the government is rolling this out in various directives and memos. In August 2021, one of those directives from the Office of Management and Budget was M2131, and it covers minimum protections, information sharing, and a maturity model for log management. This is a tiered requirement with deadlines. The first is coming up soon, August 2022, and many of you we know are scrambling. So what we'd like to do today is unpack the Section 8 requirements for you, along with presenting some of those timelines for event logging. And then we're going to present a proven solution to address various requirements. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to you, Matthew, to talk a little bit about the requirements, tiers, and deadlines, and then we'll go to the solution.
Sure, thank you. So when I was first exposed to M2131, it struck me that this is a building block for a larger zero trust effort. It's the part of zero trust where we collect information in near real time and constantly evaluate that information. So of course, part of that information is going to be log management, right? So with this particular mandate, the definition of log very much has been expanded. It used to be that a system log was just a machine or a device talking about itself or what happened within its purview. For example, would be if I logged into the network, a Microsoft server would make a system log that I logged into the network. It's a record, right? But smartly, because this is part of a zero trust effort, why would we simply trust a log, a machine talking about itself, to be accurate? Why would we trust that machine? So they added components of the definition of log to contain information derived from network traffic. That could be metadata derived from that traffic, and it could be from other kinds of networks, be it physical, virtual, or cloud. Also, the packets themselves are part of that as well. So that opens up the idea that a packet capture device is also a logging device. Now, there are various deadlines for this to happen. EL1, August 2022 is really coming up fast. Enhanced logging level 2 in 2023, and enhanced logging level 3 in August 2024. Most of the capabilities that Gigamon brings to bear are going to answer the requirements that are contained within EL1. So we can get those certain types of metadata elements from the network traffic and the packets themselves. But as requirements are expanded, we can also add value by decrypting TLS 1.2 and 1.3 traffic. The other part of this, according to Zero Trust, is that I would emphasize that they really are asking you to expand your visibility beyond just your physical networks into all kinds of virtual networks, be it VMware, KVM, OpenStack, but also the public cloud such as Amazon Web Services and Azure, for example.
Thank you for unpacking those requirements, Matthew. And now you have had a chance to go through the logging requirements in detail of M2131. So what we're going to talk about now is really a solution for all of you to consider for how to meet the various specific requirements that are detailed.
Thank you very much. This was a bit of a challenge because in M2131, it's really asking for a lot. There's a lot of information in there. So what I did is I distilled that into 3 areas of M2131 that are important, that can be rapidly deployed and bring tremendous value right up in the front, right? So one of those is the generation of flow records. The other example is a metadata creation of pulling DNS log information out of network traffic. And the last example is becoming a force multiplier for tools using packet capture as an example. So when you go through the M2131, you'll often find something called a flow record log or a flow log. And really what that means is net flow or something equivalent to net flow. Net flow being the phone bill of what happens inside the network, who did what, when, where, how much. Now, net flow has always been a challenge for my customers because when you turn it on, a switch or a router, for example, you take a performance hit, which is sometimes very significant. And because of that, NetFlow has always been a sampled protocol, right? Where you're only getting part of the information. Now, this is not suitable for security use cases. It's important that we see everything that happens. Otherwise, we don't get the story told correctly. So Gigamon, because of its unique position as a next generation packet broker, taking data in from virtual taps, physical taps, spans, VACLs, we bring it all into one spot. We can deduplicate that information and then generate real net flow that can be sent to a repository of some sort. You can select the traffic and reduce the amount of net flow that's being sent, and you can save money on flow records per minute by not having deduplication or duplicated flows. It's a really powerful, easy capability to deploy in an environment, and you can apply that in areas that were previously impossible or difficult to generate net flow, such as the cloud. The second example is pulling metadata from the traffic. So when we see all the network traffic, we can create system logs out of that traffic with the DNS protocol. And this is really important because, again, why would you trust a DNS server to accurately report what's going on? Because if I were an attacker, I would be covering up my tracks on the DNS servers, right? So get that information from the network traffic in the spirit of zero trust. But there's another component here that's really important, is that if you're relying on system logs where I'm configuring machines to log, well, are you going to get all that shadow IT? How do you know you're getting all the DNS servers in your environment? And what about all the malware DNS, right? The DNS protocol is so bad, you can tunnel TCP/IP through that protocol, and it is absolutely in use, probably right now, exfiltrating information out of environments. The third example was the increased packet capture time by using some of the packet data reduction techniques that Gigamon has. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that we can reduce the amount of noise going to a packet capture device by 95%. And this is going to enable you to scale to add the different areas of visibility that you're being required to look at using your existing tool investment that you already have.
Fantastic, Matthew. Thank you so much for how you've dissected this and to 3 different ways that Gigamon can help. Let's look at some detailed examples on each of those. So let's start with the requirement flow log example.
Sure. So this is part of EL1, and you'll notice in the required data column, there are going to be different data sources or required data that you get. And you'll see network flow logs being mentioned. And this happens multiple times within the document. So NetFlow is absolutely a very important data source for M2131. It happens all the time. And we can generate that NetFlow in a way that does not impact your network performance in any way. And then send that to whatever type of NetFlow repository that you may have from your physical networks and your cloud networks as well.
Thank you for that. Okay, let's now look at a DNS log example in more detail.
Sure. When I first looked at this, I had to look twice, because under the required data, there's so much as part of the individual data fields for the DNS protocol that are being required. I asked one of my customers about this, saying that, gosh, this almost looks like debug level logging. Is that causing any problems? And he told me that, yes, in fact, it is causing problems, because to get that level of logging was actually crashing their DNS servers when they were trying to comply, doing it in the traditional way. So they see that the Gigamon application metadata intelligence capability is a modern alternative to making this work.
Fantastic. And finally, let's hear about an example of about packet capture.
Sure. So you'll see that under the format of log file packet capture, this comes up as an alternate data source for traditional system logs frequently. And when we're doing it that way, we have to require or collect 72 hours worth of packet capture. So Gigamon can reduce the noise by 90% using various capabilities with GigaSmart. Application filtering intelligence is one of them, but my favorite is the application flow slicing. I can send just the first part of a flow. Maybe it's 100 packets out of a 2 billion packet flow. So all that good stuff that we need to do our jobs is right up front. So we can reduce the traffic without losing any forensic integrity. This is incredibly important. And that translates into, I can look at more places on my network, and I can capture more days with my packet capture device without greatly increasing the amount of footprint that I've already invested in. So we're going to breathe new life into your packet capture system and help you comply with M2131 using an investment that you've already made.
Thank you so much for those 3 examples, Matthew. And for any of you that have technical questions, our SE team is available to you to help you understand M2131 logging requirements or any components of the solution. We talked about several today, NetFlow. We talked about application intelligence, application flow slicing. Some of you may be interested in centralized decryption, and more, visibility included. So we're making our SEs available to you for any questions. You can email them at publicsector.se@gigamon.com. Now, please check out our blog also for updates on M2131 and other federal government directives that will be emerging gradually. And our federal webpage has additional resources as well. We have white papers, briefs, and videos on zero trust, CMMC, modernization, and a lot more. So check that out. On behalf of Matthew Hollingsworth and myself, Darshan Shah, I want to thank you very much. Thank you.